Welcome back to FOF Esports Mythic League Week 7 Day 2. After a spicy start to the night, we have Poseidon Gaming versus Team A-Click respectively. Once again, my name is Whirler, and back again for real this time, we have Asum. Talk to him, Ace.
I'm just hoping that no one FFs in this game. That's my one standard, and if it's competitive, then that'll be great too. But at the very least, I want a complete game played out. Hit the Nexus till it explodes, please.
Agreed. We did get a little bit of casting time robbed from us, but that's okay. It was still a good game, good fights to be had in that game as well. As we roll into POG versus Ace, it's Pyke banned for the side of Poseidon Gaming and Thresh Tristana banned for the side of Team A-Click.
I am surprised to see the Pyke ban coming out from Poseidon in this game. Now that Sword Blue has fully made the role swap over to jungle, I don't expect him to be playing much of the Pyke, and it seems like they're banning out stuff for Sword Blue support because he is, of course, kind of the premier Pyke player on this roster. So perhaps Vesper also plays it, and I'm not aware of that, but it is pretty surprising to see that. The Blitzcrank ban as well, I think might be directed more towards Sword Blue, but maybe it is a Vesper thing, and we'll have to see. I think the Tristana ban's good. Thresh ban is probably targeted towards Fed Ectomorph, who has done really good on the champion before, although I definitely think it's not worth banning over something like Morgana, perhaps, which she's shown a little more comfort on in some games. And the Camille ban as well. I don't really know much about Aqua Anthony. I think he played one game previously with POG, but we haven't seen much from him, so I don't really know what to expect from him.
But it is going to be the Rumble lock-in for the first pick for Poseidon Gaming. I would say it's a decent flex pick for the most part, mid and jungle respectively. Sometimes even top lane.
Rumble's great. Actually, he's like a quad flex. You can put him support too these days. But I think that right now, he's definitely not as strong as he was last patch. He took a few nerfs in 11-11, but definitely still worth picking up on this first rotation. A really strong flex pick. And Ace is immediately going to lock the Son of Tom Kench, which, I mean, I like to see it. I think Ace showed a lot of proficiency on these picks in the last game they played against RLS. They also went for the Son of Tom very early in that draft, picking up the Annie again for Vambient then. And their style of draft that game was actually pretty solid. They looked a lot better than they had in their previous games with this new roster, and with the Annie and Vambient's hands kind of being an Annie one trick. Sword Blue on a maybe questionable Cleanse, Smite, Graves in that game, but everything else is pretty solid. So if they draft the same way in this game, I'll be pretty happy to see it. And POG, on the other hand, has opted into just drafting losing bot lane, taking an Aphelios into Senatom Kench. So not sure what the direction is for that one.
As you said it with the the Graves taking Cleanse Smite technology, they might have something up their sleeves of this one, as it is the Aphelios looking to be Lulu to match the Senatom Kench. I wouldn't say the best matchup in the world, but independently I would say they could put in some work.
Yeah, and I mean, Crow definitely is one of the better AD carries in this tournament. Probably, I would say, has an argument being made for being the best AD carry in the Mythic League in terms of both consistency and the dominance he's shown in the games that he's played. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a ton of him just because POG has had some roster shakeups throughout the season, and they've ended up having Bobrovsky playing AD carry for them, alternating, and like, I don't really know who's going to be playing AD carry for them in a given week, but if it's Crow, then I think he can make stuff like this work, even though it is technically a bad matchup. Aphelios Lulu definitely has potential to carry the game, just all on its own if you're able to get ahead, and although the Sun is going to make that very difficult, being able to outrange you in the lane and in the team fights, I don't know. Maybe Crow can just outplay them. We'll have to see. The Annie pick again, though.
Yes, we get to see the Annie again, the renowned stomping champion. I believe Annie has, or I believe as we've seen in this tournament, Annie has a 100% win rate.
Yeah, Annie is currently undefeated. Both games also being pretty stompy as far as I remember. I don't know if there are any earlier picks than those ones, but last game looked pretty one-sided. The last time Ace played, it also looked very one-sided. To be fair, both of those games were against HBK and RLS, so some of our lower-seeded teams here. So we'll see how it stands up to one of the higher teams up here, POG being now in 4th place. And I think Ace definitely has the potential to kind of get an upset here. I think a lot of people didn't expect Ace to be competitive for these top spots going into the season. They looked pretty strong, but then they had a lot of issues with the roster. They were playing a lot of weird stuff, and now really having this solidified roster with Sword Blue in the jungle and having Vesper as their support now, I think they have a lot of potential to really shake things up in the standings, and pick up a win here would be pretty big for them, showing they have the potential going into playoffs.
It is going to be Udyr, and it looks to be Kindred banned out for the side of Poseidon Gaming. Team A-Click opting to take away the Akali from Critidict, and it is going to be the Gragas as well being taken away on the side of Team A-Click as we go right into round 2 of picks.
Yeah, the Akali ban's also pretty interesting to me. I think that it's nominally one of the worst matchups into Annie, so I'm surprised they want to take it off the table, already showing that mid lane matchup, but perhaps they're concerned about it as a potential flex mid-top, and they don't know what's going to happen with their top laner either. And I guess we'll have to see where things end up going for Poseidon, but I think it's pretty likely this Rumble will be picked up by Gunsy as he's playing jungle today. And they got Critic in the mid lane. So Gunsy really is the Rumble player on this roster, and I fully expect it to go there. Nidalee pickup is a little questionable for me. I think this is sort of the thing that's happened with Ace's drafts in this game and in their last game, is they'll draft pretty solid, and then they'll pick up some random thing in the jungle that doesn't really fit super well with the rest of their team, and typically is sort of an ego pick for Sword Blue. But honestly, it doesn't end up mattering a lot of the time for them, I feel like, just because Sword Blue is such a great player and is able to pull off some of these a little bit more questionable picks in a lot of these circumstances. We'll see if he's able to make it work today, though, against POG. I think he definitely should be coming into this with quite a bit of confidence. Gunsy being off role right now, playing jungle for Poseidon, and as well as the fact he's coming off that win against RLS, although it's against RLS, but looked pretty good on the Graves.
And it's going to be Victor and Renekton picked up for the side of Poseidon Gaming to round out their composition, as it looks to be Sion being locked in on the side of Team A-Click to round out their composition. What are your thoughts if that Sion gets locked in?
I don't know what's going on here for POG. I think that Victor is all right to take here into the Annie. It's definitely a potentially favorable matchup for Critidict in the mid lane. You are able to outrange a lot of stuff and potentially avoid being one-shot. You can contest her pretty easily in the early game, just farming safely and then scaling up pretty nicely against her. I think you have a lot more team fight potential outside of the Annie just one-shotting everyone. Renekton on B5 is really puzzling. I'm not really sure what their idea is with this. It pretty much has to go top lane at this point. So they're blinding Renekton top at this point, and unless they want to do some crazy role swaps with like Rumble going top, and I don't even know what they'd have to do. I guess they could put some like Rumble support Lulu top, but I don't expect any of that out of POG. I think that's just a blind Renekton top, and they are able to take the Sion into it, which is, pretty decent matchup. You're scaling nicely. Once you get Bramble, he can't really do anything to you, and he does scale really, really hard compared to the Sion. So Ace just want to sit in this game, play pretty safe, and I mean, they will scale all right with the Rumble, Aphelios, Lulu, and Victor. But, I mean, Renekton's just going to be a giant tank at the end of the game, and he's not going to have much potential to get onto these backline targets, especially with the Sen of Tahm Kench being so safe and the Annie having the CC to peel for them and the Sion front line. So I think Ace is a pretty handy draft win here, and I'd expect them to be able to at least leverage this into an advantage going into that mid to late game if they're able to survive the early game against POG.
Definitely looks to be like an exciting matchup here, and we have the Nidalee pick for Sword Blue, it looks to be.
Yeah, and Sword Blue has actually shown quite a bit of proficiency on this as well. I think we saw it come out from him, I believe, last season, in finals almost, I want to say. He picked up Nidalee and was off-roll, or ostensibly off-roll. Now he seems like he's fully made the transition to jungle. At the time, he was playing support, but he's definitely good at the champion, and I think against Gunsy, he should be able to win pretty hard in this jungle matchup. Although Rumble is obviously a really strong jungler right now, I think Sword Blue's just such a great player, and like, he's just, if he's not messing around, I think he has potential to snowball really hard on a champ like this.
Oh. Alrighty, I feel like Ace has this game in the bag. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely inclined to say that Ace should win this game almost every time, unless something goes drastically wrong for them around the bot side.
I would have to agree. And I believe we are ready to see game number 2. It's going to be Poseidon Gaming on the blue side with Renekton in the top lane, Rumble in the jungle. Gotta love to see that one. Victor in the mid lane. We got Aphelios and Lulu in the bot lane. On the side of A-Click, we have Sion in the top lane. Sword Blue on the Nidalee Vampiant on the Annie. So Sad Sam and Vesper on the Sen of Tahm Kench. And it is going to be the Fasting Senna.
Yeah, so this is pretty much what we expected for the lanes. Everything looks pretty normal. Gunsy has opted for the Dark Harvest. I think that's a little bit strange considering we've got Sion and Tahm Kench on the other side, but I guess we'll see if we make it work. Obviously, he does need to snowball in this game to be actually overly relevant. Senna will eventually outscale everyone on this team, as well as Sion being pretty much an unkillable front line for most of these champions. Aphelios can technically get through it eventually, but he's going to have a really hard time being in range to even do that against stuff like the Senna and the Annie in the late game. So I think that I really am looking for Pod to get advantages around the bot side and allow Crow to really take control of this game because he is their win condition. He's definitely the player that I think has the most potential to carry this game from this position with the Aphelios Lulu. Even though it's a pretty hard game to play it in, I definitely think he's good on the champion, and he has opted for the cull start, so he is looking to really just get that gold early in this lane, scale into the game decently, and have a reasonable gold lead going into the mid game, which maybe he can snowball into winning a few dragon fights around Soul Point. On the other hand, I'm a little bit of a dance going on here.
A little bit of a dance going on the top lane. We're showing a little bit of respect to both of the top laners as they're having a little fun recalling it away. It's a tradition with your pool party Renekton to do it. Sion playing along. It's a standard start for both sides of the jungle. Going to be a bot lane leash for the both or for both sides, and it is going to be Quick little trade coming out in the bot lane. Not too much going on. A couple more auto attacks coming up here. It's going to be a stun onto the Renekton, into a Grasp auto, into a traded auto. A lot of damage coming out into this top lane. They're really feisty out here, looking for blood. Popping the W shield. Not going to do too much with that. It is going to be a level 1 trade coming out for both bot lanes, and both AD carries going to be taken to half here.
Yeah, and in this bot lane, a lot of these early trades are going to sort of be negligible as the lane progresses. As so said, Sam is going to have all the healing up from the Senna Qs to sustain through this lane, as well as the red gun for Felios right now, able to heal a lot of HP in these early levels. So both of them should be okay here unless there's some sort of an all-in the next 10 seconds or so. And I imagine both bot lanes are going to play the scale here because if I'm on Ace's side, I'm really expecting to outscale them and be able to outrange.
Ooh. All right, E and Qing on to Burst Limit. Burst Limit's going to be taken very low here. He has the Flash, isn't going to be able to get out. Flashes into the wall like Dyrus. He's going to be going down, trading flashes with Aqua Anthony. Aqua Anthony's going to get out of this one alive. It is going to be Burst Limit taking the first blood and the free trip to base.
I don't know what Burst Limit was doing there. He looked like he was holding Flash because he realized he was dead, and even if he flashed, he would just trade flashes and end up dying anyways. Then he flashed and failed Flash and died anyways for it, so... Does still end up trading flashes. Not the worst thing ever. He will eventually outscale his Renekton if he doesn't continue to feed, but it is a pretty scary start to top lane, and Burst Limit definitely needs to play a little bit safer, trying to look to just scale in this game rather than taking these early trades with the Renekton.
It's going to be a little bit of some action here in the top lane. Popping out the TP, Aqua Anthony is going to be off to the side, but Gunsey is going to be going down before you can even know it.
There's still a numbers advantage here for Ace.
Ace having the numbers advantage. Critidic forcing the Flash out of lane, but I don't think he's quite out of there yet. Critidic is going to be knocked up, and Sword Blue is going to get the Flash jump Q for the double kill.
Yeah, and those two early kills going over to the Nidalee is much more impactful than Renekton getting that one solo kill in the lane. Burst Limit's going to be fine if he scales up with the Bramble and doesn't die here. He should be able to walk this one off pretty easily, I think. Even if he gets
E does land, it gets the second part, gets more damage onto him. Burst Limit, after bursting the TP, is going to be taking a low. Fat Ectomorph, very low over here. He's going to be going down. Nidalee is all over the map. She is going to go down to Gunsey, though. Gunsey is going to be coming up for the scoop and the pickup. Let's see what happened down here.
Yes, this was Crow going down early, and then Fat Ectomorph getting dove under the turret there. So even though they end up trading 1-for-1 with Sword Blue, losing a shutdown, I would say this is still favorable for Ace, just because they are able to take out both bot laners and crash the wave, which ends up denying them about a wave and a half of CS, as well as all that XP.
Let's see what happens here. Gunsey's coming up. Sword Blue's killing up Critidic. This was at the same time. Vesper landing a slow onto Fat Ectomorph, doing a little bit of trading onto the Aphelios Senna, doing massive amounts of damage there. Vesper tanking up massive amounts of damage. Good exhaust coming out, trading it as well. Polymorph coming out onto SoSad Sam. SoSad Sam still releasing the Haymaker onto Crow the Moonlit. He's going to be going down. Sword Blue going for the dive. Isn't going to be enough to take Fat Ectomorph down yet, but the auto attack into the E is going to be enough to scoop it up, and the flamethrower from Gunsey is going to return that kill. It is a 2-for-1 trade in the bot lane.
Yeah, Sword Blue greeting for that definitely wasn't optimal. He probably should have just let Lulu live if he thought he was going to potentially die there and giving over a shutdown, but ultimately, still not that bad for them. Obviously, we better just kill Crow and crash the wave.
Ooh,
but
Gunsey's not done.
Scary.
He's not done. He wants more. Almost takes Vesper's life, but the E with the thick skin is going to be enough. He has enough C's to live.
Yeah, and something else worth noting is that everyone on the map right now has burned their teleports except for Vambient. And we talked about it last game with the Annie not being used to its full potential to really make those plays on side lane, set up the dives and crash waves. But in this game, Vambient does have the potential to just TP down to the bot lane or up to the top lane, make that dive happen, and just end someone's laning phase completely. So we'll see if he's able to utilize that, being the only teleport on the map and being unmatched.
Aqua Anthony is getting a little aggressive with the E's here. Is going to be down. No jungler in sight to really threaten him. So he will be definitely fine as he pushes in this wave, and potentially he's going to get a plate here. Burst Limit taken up to half. Is he looking for a dive here? Gets a good stun on the Burst Limit. Burst Limit isn't going to die quite yet. Winions won't take him down very low, though. Sword Blue in the bush is going to land on Fat Ectomorph. Fat Ectomorph is going to take fat damage. Trade a little bit with Sword Blue. Sword Blue's not going to be taken too low. Not too worried about it. Aphelios landing the root. She's going to get out of there alive.
But look at what they're doing. They're zoned out of XP range on this wave while there's farming it on the tower here. And so bot lane actually ends up losing a lot off that. Even Sword Blue's not able to get a kill there. It denies them so much on the wave. And they end up having to walk up here now to try and clear this out and push it in.
Sword Blue all over the map. Here she comes. Mid lane. Nidalee looking to make some plays happen. Well, the needle goes a little bit wide. Isn't enough to start anything, but the pressure is on, and Sword Blue, he's everywhere this game.
Yeah, and Sorblue getting off to an early lead on this Nidalee is really scary for Poseidon because, again, Poseidon is going to get outscaled in this game unless they're able to get an early lead. And although
And
Aphelios
here,
can definitely do stuff in the late game here, it is going to be really hard for them. And Sorblue being on the Nidalee ahead makes it so difficult to play the game as these squishy carries of the Aphelios and the Victor. So unless Fat Ectomorph is able to sort of keep them alive with that Lulu shielding and ultimate, then they're going to get popped by this Nidalee.
indeed so. Sword Blue opts to solo this Mountain Drake. Going to be taken very low from it. Probably going to go back anyway. Get some money and spend it too. It looks like it's going to be an uncontested Mountain Drake for Team A-Click.
Yeah, and the Mountain Drake's also pretty big for Ace here. They actually get a lot of bonus resistances out of it on the Scion and the Tom Kench.
Grunty is in the top lane. Burst Limit is in some trouble here. It's
Does not have the
2v1.
ultimate yet.
Isn't 6, still 5, but both of them are. It is going to be Gunsy landing a good amount of CC on him,
he's
getting the
just dead
slow
here.
and the damage. He's not going to be able to fight this. He's going to be going down before he can even hit 6. No TP, no will to live either. He's going down slowly but surely.
Yeah, Burst Limit just playing weak side, ends up getting gone on again there. He does. This is actually a gank, not a solo kill, so I guess it's not quite as bad, but he does need to understand his role in this team composition. I think playing under tower is basically all you can do in this position of Scion, so hopefully you can't get dove by their Renekton Rumble from this point onwards. And if they look for that, they can try to punish it with the Annie teleporting in.
Responding to it, Sword Blue does do a little bit of an invade and gets the red buff out away from Gunsy.
Yeah, it's a good response from Sword Blue, taking away the bot side camp, seeing that Gunsy showed top side there, and he is able to mitigate some of that advantage that was acquired top lane off of that gank. On the other hand, he's also bot side for this gank, and Gunsy's here to counter gank this.
And they're committed into this. Vesper and so is that Sam too far up, and they're actually going to be in a bit of a pickle here. Vesper going down quickly to the Equalizer flamethrower. Oh, good spear damage onto Crow the Moonlit, but it's not going to be enough to continue the fight. They're going to lose Vesper pretty quickly, and they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. They're kind of evening this up a little bit. The gold is remaining even across the board.
Yeah, so these back and forth plays across the map are nice to see. POG isn't getting completely blown out, and this Nidalee's early lead hasn't snowballed too hard. But again, because they are getting outscaled, just going even like this isn't enough. They do need to find bigger advantages, and they need to find especially advantages for Gunsy and for Crow. So stuff like this around the bot side is good to see, but they need to keep doing it.
It is warded, so they do see Sword Blue coming in for the return gank. Crow the Moonlit and Fat Ectomorph do have the utility to get out of here with the
I'm not sure they respected this
polymorph.
enough. If they hit the spear, then he could be in pretty big danger, but thankfully he doesn't end up hitting the spear, and Tom Kench isn't able to get the Tum Lash either, slow him down. They're staying, though.
Ooh, Crow the Moonlight's in a bit of a pickle. He does have the flash and the exhaust, so he might be okay here. Does dodge out on the spear, but is going to get rooted here. Senna ult coming out as well. Crow taken very low. Isn't going to be enough to take him down. He's still in the fight, but he's still autoing. He's supposed to flash out. Vampian flash ult. Going to take him down as well. Stun up the Lulu. She's going to be going down too. And he's going to get stunned up by Victor, but it's not going to be enough. Very good team play from Vesper. Vesper saving Vampian's life. Good flash from Critidic to dodge out on the Needle. Needle not connecting, and there's going to be no more deaths after that. Maybe they're going to go for a dive, but hereby on the top side, Gunsy on the Rift Herald looking to make a reverse play here after the bot lane dies.
He's going to take what he can on this top side, get the Rift Herald, and that's all right for them, but bot side has been blown open now. That's what we were talking about right there. We saw it come to fruition is the Annie coming down to the bot side, making the dive happen with his ultimates, and there's nothing they can do. They just get bursted down. Really clean dive from Ace, and I think they're in a really good position to take control of this game now. Annie being up 2-0 once again, and Annie seems to get fed in every game we watch of it, so maybe teams should just start banning it. I'm not really sure. Vampian is, in fact, like basically an Annie one trick, so again, I can't believe he got it again, but I guess they didn't respect it, and he's fed again.
It is going to be Renekton taking away the red buff away from Sword Blue. I don't think he minds that too much, but I mean, hey,
I don't know about this lane assignment. Ace Crow's not gonna be able to lane against Annie. He can get one shot.
Has a Q auto, does almost half of his health.
Yeah, I don't think swapping bot to mid here was the move. I actually don't think even with Lulu here that Crow can lane very effectively against Annie. If Annie gets flash up again, he's just gonna die with Lulu ult even. So
isn't gonna happen
just use this to push in the wave, wait for the Lulu ult, and then wait for.
Ooh, this is dirty. Aqua Anthony and Gunsy getting out of the bush, gonna stun him up before he can even get to tier 1 tower. He's flashing under it. He's gonna get stunned and he's gonna get killed. That is a tilter, ladies and gentlemen. That's just disrespectful. Burst Limit's not gonna get a chance to play League of Legends today. He's going to be going down in the top lane, where in the bot lane we have Sword Blue doing the same thing to Critadic. Critadic's not going to be able to get out of this one, and it's going to be another one of those fancy schmancy trades.
So that is a good response again. Swordblade will make the play happen across the map, and some really nice trades of pressure across the map from both teams here. But this is going to be first tower going down the top lane with Rift Herald being dropped, and that's a lot of gold going over for Nectin. So it does put him in position to actually play the game now, since he's no longer too far behind. He's actually very far ahead in a position where even though he's getting outscaled, he'll be relevant for quite a while. So it's pretty nice for Poseidon. It definitely gives them a decent chance to stay in this game, but bot side is still going really poorly for them. And this Senna being ahead is really bad for their team competition because she does outrange literally everyone. And I think once we start seeing the team fights happen, Reactor's going to have a hard time getting onto her.
The Gator might have stayed his time a little too long,
no.
and he's going to pick up another free kill. That's going to be a shutdown this time. 600 gold going into the little girl's pocket. Gunsey is off to the side. Can't really see too much play potential.
Oh, the repeat gank
Sword
too.
Blue repeating onto Crow the Moonlit. Crow the Moonlit is going to be taken very low. TP coming out from Victor. Victor is going to be headed into this fight. Critadic coming in there hot. But a return TP from Burst Limit is going to be the 4v4.
He's going to die.
And it is going to be Critadic caught out here. He is not in a good position. Another TP from Aqua Anthony is going to even up the numbers a little bit. Is going to miss the stun. Sion not quite getting that. Aqua Anthony is on Sword Blue. Going to take that shutdown. Vesper's in the middle of this with Burst Limit. And an equalizer from Gunsey from the back. Equalizer going to clean them up a little bit. Flashing onto him. Gunsey's going to pick up a double, but Burst Limit in the passive is going to take him out. Vambient off to the side, fighting Crow the Moonlit with a double kill. Walking this one out.
Careful here.
Probably pick up another one. W through the exhaust is going to be enough. The exhaust goes off. The shield from the E is enough to let her live, so she can Q Crow the Moonlit once again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be one heck of a fight.
Ooh, that was 3 TPs committed, not even all at the same time. Great equalizer from Gunsey to turn the fight, and I think they had it won from that point. But Crow really greeted, running after the Annie there, and once it's been a couple of seconds chasing the Annie, you have to turn around, because once she gets WQ back up, you're going to get one shot as an AD carry in that position, especially one with Felios' range without his sniper. So I think it's a little bit unfortunate end to the fight there. Ends up being in Ace's favor once again as a result of that. But signs of life from POG, and definitely shows what their comp can do, especially with Rumble hitting these great equalizers and chokes like this.
Definitely so, and that was an amazing entrance from Gunsey. Look at him put down the equalizer. He's going to get 3 people with that, bringing him very low, flashing on a So Sad Sam to clean that one up as well. But he's going to go down to the Scion passive. And
this is the point where they had to stop chasing. You know, once this polymorphs out, if you get into range of Annie, she's going to one-shot you. You're at half HP as a Felios, and I don't know what Crow thinks he's doing here.
Vambient had a very good showing here. And that was an amazing fight across the board.
Yeah, now Vambient is really, really fed on this Annie. He got the shutdown. He also got a couple of the kills there. He's 6-0-3 on this Annie. He hasn't even finished his Mythic. He's on a 10-stack Dark Seal. And this is going to be an Infernal Dragon going over basically uncontested to Ace. Now on Mountain and Infernal, both these dragons just on their own pre-soul end up being really relevant for their team. It gives them a lot of additional damage and stats here. A lot of that damage going over to the Annie, especially with all those early AP scalings. The percentage AP boost can be really relevant if you're fed this early. And, I mean, yeah, things looking pretty dire for POG. I don't really see a way back into this game for them unless they're able to find some massive wombo.
Definitely so, as the Infernal Dragon is picked up for Team A-Click. Annie looking in that bush a little bit, not going to find anything. Is going to go back and pick up the loot.
He should be able to hop the wall if he sees him.
Absolutely, but the Nidalee is going to be caught. Not going to get out of this one. There's 3 members there, right? And they're going to pick up a clean kill on a Sword Blue. Sword Blue giving them a donation.
Yeah, definitely overstaying there. I think he probably could have just hopped the wall as soon as he cleared the ward, but he ended up greeting for even more, walking into that red bush. I don't really know what he was going for, maybe just some more deep vision, but he was all alone and pretty easy collapse from them. Vambient with the
going
flank,
for the gank in the bot lane is going to be enough to one-shot Crow the Moonlit. He's going to be going down. Equalizer zoning out the Annie. Annie going to be taking a low. Tiber's going to be going down. But I think that's going to be all she wrote for that. They are going to pressure this tower, as it is insanely low. Good snare on the Senna is going to be enough to back them off ever so slightly. Vambient, great TP, good pressure. They're going to be responding to this.
Also dead here.
Vesper with the cleanup. He's going to be carrying them.
And he's going
to make it out alive. Amazing. A So Sad Sam gets a couple more auto attacks on Fat Ectomorph. They're going to get the tower, and they're going to get out of there.
This is pretty over. Unfortunately, Crow the Moonlit getting the AD carry experience in this game. Annie just presses 3 buttons, and he has gone through Lulu ult. little
And
unfortunate
it's
for
going to be
him.
Scion drifting into Critidic. Critidic is going to throw down the stun. Isn't going to be enough to stun him up. Doesn't get the knock up from Scion ult either. We're going to end that one there.
Yeah, I mean, Ace is so far ahead now. Even with that mid lane play not quite working out for them, the Rumble isn't really strong enough anymore to do anything to their team unless they find a massive choke point that they end up being able to get a Rumble Equalizer onto on top of like a Chaos Storm from the Victor and a Aphelios ult. But even with all of that, Rumble has gone for the Night Harvester, which I think is pretty much the wrong choice in this situation 99% of the time, knowing that the Scion and the Tahm Kench are going to be super, super tanky. That burst is going to do pretty little to minimize that, and I think that Tahm Kench can devour anyone who gets on the Equalizer outside of himself, obviously. So going for the Proto Belt for that additional Magic Pen, especially going Conqueror in this game rather than Dark Harvest as well, would have been a lot more useful for him. And he's going to have a really hard time bursting down these targets through that Mountain Drake and through those resistance being built up on the Tahm Kench and the Scion. So unless they're able to find those picks without those tanks there, I think, again, POG has a really hard time playing this game, so they need to look for that rather than the 5v5 team fight, because they'll lose those team fights every time.
Ambient. He's looking for blood. Is Gunsy unknowingly is going to throw an E into that? He spotted it. Ambient did. The surprise is ruined. As they are going to start up the Rift Herald, though.
Yeah, this is a little strange from Ace. I don't think they need to be starting this Rift Herald here. It wastes a lot of time.
Ambient getting a little bit of what he wants, though. Doing numbers on the Gunsy. Gunsy almost going to go down. Isn't going to be quite enough to take him out, though. Ambient off to the side. A good equalizer. Is going to do a little bit of damage.
You can see that Night Harvester damage basically doesn't matter when you're flying into the Tahm Kench, and they should be able to turn this fight even if they actually walk into them. I don't really understand why POG is all standing here. I don't think they can really contest this if the Herald gets dropped in the mid lane very effectively, and if they're going to fight the 5v5, they're just going to lose unless they outplay them really hard.
A decent stun up from Sosat Sam. Good flash from the Siren is going to be enough to start this fight. And they're going to one-shot Aphelios on that one. Rift Herald being spawned in too. This is going to be mid tower going down, and their AD carry as well getting one shot. Very well played.
Like play AD carry in Season 11, I'm just going to send them this clip. Because Crow is definitely getting the complete experience this game. Basically nothing he can do. And Ace is just running it down mid with this Herald. This is the one way Herald can be useful for them, is if they can just end the game off it, because they're able to get free picks like this. And Sword Blue is just going insanely deep.
Yes, indeed. They are going to pick up a couple extra kills for that. And they're going to be pushing out the mid lane tower. Ace.
Yeah, so I was a little concerned with Ace rotating everyone up to the Herald there, but I liked what they did, keeping Vambient mid there. They only committed 4 to the Herald, and though it is a 17-minute Rift Herald, because they are able to pressure down that mid T1, I think what they're thinking is that you're barely ever going to be able to take that T1 against a champion like Victor without the Herald, just because he has so much wave clear. And so they are going to need that, and it makes the game a lot easier once they get it down. So now that they've taken that mid T1 and T2, the map has completely opened up for them. They are going to lose their bot T1, but that's basically completely econ at this point. It doesn't actually impact the map state for them. They're going to be able to set up so much more vision now into this bottom side jungle for POG and around this next dragon, which should be the Ocean Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds. They're going to run straight to it, I imagine, as it comes up. And it should be really impossible for POG to contest this now with their towers being down, the mid wave being contested as well. And pushing to Ocean Soul with Scion and Tahm Kench and Senna here, as well as even Nidalee having that heal on her E being pretty substantial at this point of the game. I think that POG is going to have a really hard time burning through these health bars. I don't really know what they can do against Ocean Soul. And even if they get Grievous, it's going to be pretty irrelevant just because of these huge, huge health pools on these tanks.
Have to agree, and it's going to be the Ocean Drake started up for Team 8-Click. They're going to be able to take this and make it sole point. Aqua Anthony is over the wall, popping the ulti. It's going to be going on to the Annie in the bot lane. Annie is going to be going down almost. Oh, it's going to be the flash for flash, and that's going to be 1,000 gold in the Gator's pocket. It looked a little weird off the screen, but if you looked at the map, the Annie was very far up.
I'm not sure why Vambient was there, but this is actually a good fight for POG.
And this is going to be a great start to it. No Annie, not a lot of damage to be had here. Sword Blue and Sosatsan off to the top. Gunsy is going to be going down to the Nidalee. Nidalee is going to be saving that a little bit, but Scion and
Tahm can't get in range.
Aqua Anthony is going to be out of range and stunned up. They're going to have to take that one the way they got it. That's going to be a 3-for-1 for Poseidon Gaming.
I don't really know why Vambient was just a lone bot lane while his team was doing Dragon there. I'm pretty sure he should have stayed.
Pay attention to this one. We got Vambient TPing behind them. Fat Ectomorphs in a... Oh my god! Never mind. There was no Lulu there, ever. And it's going to be another stun on a Critidic. Critic's going to go to Sword Blue, and they're going to even that up to 3-for-3!
Alright, so the first bit of that fight was basically the dream for POG. They had Aphelios free firing the entire time in the back. They were able to get the Lulu ult to keep him alive. It ended up knocking up 2 people. And I mean, that's like all they're ever going to get. And it ended up being 3-for-1, and they still managed TP in the Annie, and she just deletes them. So
That
I don't think things are getting any better for POG from here. I think it's basically over. All they can hope for is some Miracle Baron steal, maybe getting something off Ocean Soul denying, but it's so hard. I mean, we see how much damage this Annie does. She's 10-1 now, is working on the Rabadon's Death Cap. She should have it pretty soon, and she's already on the stacking Medjais as well. That's so much AP. And again, these carries are super squishy. Renekton doesn't do enough damage to actually be a realistic threat on the back line, especially with the Tahm Kench and the Sion being able to front line for them. And he should never be able to get through them. And on the other hand, Rumble, Victor, and Aphelios are just going to get deleted. They can't do anything against this. They're outranged, they're outdamaged, and they're going to end up losing their tower here. They might try to contest this, but I don't think they
man. Here we go. It's going to be Aqua Anthony jumping into the fight, stunning up on So Sad Sam. So Sad Sam's going to get Vesper's taking a lot of damage. TP coming out from Burst Limit. Vesper is going to be tanking up a Storm, though. He's taking low, eating onto him. Renekton's going to take him out, but he's going to trade his life for it. So Sad Sam almost going down. It's not going to be enough. He's going to be able to get the Q heal and the Nidalee heal and stay alive for this Vambian going around the corner, taking a little scenic route. Gunsee's off to the side. If you look to the bot lane, Burst Limit taking a little damage from Crow. Gunsy is forced out of the fight due to Vambian.
Oh, here comes Vambiant, though. Crow is about to disappear.
We're looking for blood here as they are pressured under the tower. It is going to be a TP from Crit. Crit Addict is going to begin to this fight now. There's going to be a little bit of a stalemate. I don't think they're going to actually opt to fight this. They're going to take the TP and get out.
Yeah, so it is good. They get the TP out of them and ends up being 1-for-1. Unfortunately, Vesper kind of overstayed. I think they definitely had the kill on Renekton secured there, and he ended up staying in melee range for no reason, resulting in his death off the Renekton Q. But still, taking that 1-for-1 is not awful. They do get the TP, so it is still a win for Ace. And again, going even in these fights, while they are ahead and they shouldn't be going just even, doesn't actually matter. Vesper's not worth that much gold, and they are still outscaling. Senna's still stacking. Senna is going for Divine Thunder, which actually, I like to see this in this patch. I think Divine Thunder is now a lot better on Senna. They did buff it recently on 11-11. It's a really strong option now, going Divine Thunder into the Black Cleaver, also recently buffed. I'm not totally sure about the Berserker's Greaves on her. I definitely think that could be something like the Merc Treads to really mitigate that Victor and Rumble, burning damage over time. Also to avoid getting one-shot by them, because I don't think you're realistically going to be getting hit by the Renekton or the Aphelios in these team fights.
The drifting coming in. It's going to be Vambian, exhausted, with tons of damage. Crit Addict forced to flash out of there. Isn't going to be too much going on there, but they do trade towers, mid and top lane. Is going to be a weird scenario.
There's
for
no way out of this for him. He is
Gunsy is in a spot. Drops the equalizer onto Sword Blue. Sword Blue healing that off. Vesper and
so dead
are going to be coming up to the fray, but here comes So Sad Sam to draw the line. And draw the line he will, as he is going to go down and get one shot from Sword Blue's damage. Inversely, Crow the Moonlit and Fat Ectomorph pushing up the mid lane, getting a little bit of pressure and some damage onto the tier 2. Isn't going to be enough to start anything. Aqua Anthony in the bot lane is going to be pressuring this bot tier tower that they will be rotating to.
Yeah, nice cross mapping from POG, trying to put some pressure on the other side of the map to mitigate that disadvantage from Gunsy being caught. But ultimately, I think it should be winning for Ace. They're able to push in this top wave, and Vesper shouldn't be able to really get taken out here. Being in the 2v1 top side, they could even look to dive Crit here. He is actually alone, although they don't necessarily know that. So I think they're just going to back away. And Ace just needs to play a stable game here, looking for this Ocean Soul point in 10 seconds now. I think if they get this, they can basically just run it down mid with Baron even. But they do need to pick this up, so I'd like to find out right now.
They are headed towards it, and we're going to get another fight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to see this one. It's going to be Vesper, a little bit close to them. I'd be scared
if they burn this.
They are on the Drake. It is about half. Aqua Anthony popping the ultimate is going to get stunned up. Into the backline he goes. Equalizer being dropped down. Going to get rooted. Burst Limit, and Vesper is going to go down to the Victor ult. Victor being forced to put
Burst
damage down Gunsy. Burst Limit and Aqua Anthony barely live with their lives. Nidalee Spear is going wide. Crow the Moonlit taking half his health. Flash from Gunsy is going to be enough to take out Burst Limit. Zanya is going to stall that a little bit.
Oh, Sword Blue!
Going to flash in and steal the Ocean Soul point from 1 HP. Popping the E and Zanya'sing full health almost, and he gets the steal. And that's going to be Ocean Soul for A-Click. As they're not done, they're chasing this one out, and that's going to be a decent fight if you're A-Click. It looked really good for POG, but that was an amazing steal from Sword Blue.
Yeah, that was about as good a fight you're going to get again from POG. They ended up actually sort of winning on the front of the fight, but just an amazing play from Swordblue to get over this wall, get the Drake steal, and honestly, I think Ace could have just burned this dragon. Gunsy was still coming out from base after being killed there, and he wouldn't even been there in time to go for the smite steal, but they ended up committing to the fight, which wasn't super favorable for them. Again, Crow is able to live for so long in this fight, actually. It's another one of those fights he's able to pretty much free fire, and it ends up melting through a lot of these carries pretty quickly. They aren't able to get much damage onto him, so said Sam isn't really autoing him much. And it looks really good, but then, yeah, that's the Ocean, gets stolen. That's on Ocean Soul Point now, and I think Ace is perfectly happy to trade, what is it, 4 for 1? I mean, if it's for Ocean Soul, who cares?
Yeah.
3 for 1 even. Yeah, who cares? It's Ocean Soul.
And they're going to be paying the Baron. Let's see.
Like, it's 1k gold lead, and the best they're going to get off this is Baron, but you should be able to survive Baron with this point, and they are going to TP in to contest this as well, so we'll see if they can even do this. They're all really low, and Vambient can one-shot whoever he wants. There's going to be even 2 one-shots right here.
Oh my god, here we go. It is going to be Annie taking out the Lulu, and it is going to be the ulti from the Senna. Didn't really hit, but the Baron execute is going to go down. Crow the Moonlight's getting chased out, but a good equalizer from the Rumble is going to be enough to save his life. Vambient isn't going to get the double, but they did stop the Baron, and that was really well played by the Annie. And they're going to be actually turning on
Ace. They can't contest this anymore. Now that Aqua Anthony's dead, they actually have no front line. They can't walk in.
This is turned into a turntable after turntable. Looks good for POG, looks good for Ace. Looks good for POG, looks good for Ace. Let's see how this one goes. Everyone in the pit. Everyone's taking the Baron down.
Cannot contest this. This will just be a free Baron for Ace. I think the one constant throughout this game has been, even when it looks good for POG, it doesn't end up mattering because Poseidon's team composition is just such a hard time playing these fights into Aces, and even when they're sort of winning in the fights, they're losing in objectives, and they're just losing in the game state, because even if they go even in the fight, or even winning, they need to win harder than that, right? You're going up against Senna, you're going against Scion, you're going against stuff like that. Even, Nidalee is scaling pretty solidly into this game with these AP scalings and going in the Medjais here. I mean, this is actually an interesting build coming out from Swordblue. I'm not too sure what to make of it. He went Riftmaker here. I guess he really wants that additional burn damage over time, being able to have these longer fights, being able to get the additional pen, but I mean, I'm not too sure how strong it is having the additional % damage on the Nidalee, landing those spears, but he's made it work, so I'm not going to really question it too much. I don't know the Nidalee build that well in this season anymore.
Speaking of builds, I'd like to comment on the build that Senna has opted to go to this game. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I think we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but yeah, I think this is really great.
I'm going to have to cut you off here.
It's going to matter because Aqua Anthony is getting caught out again.
And he's going to be able to make it out alive, though. No, he does get the root. Actually, he does go back in. He was out, but he opted to walk right back in. TP coming from Burst Limit. Burst Limit's going to be a 5v5, and they're going to take the TP and walk away on this one, but they are going to take their Baron to the top lane.
Ocean Soul and Baron, I mean, they should be able to take at least the inhibitor here if they play this correctly, and I don't think they can really get contested too much. All they have to do
Here comes Vambient. He's Vambient gatekeeping off to the side, not letting them get even close to even saving these towers coming up. There's going to be red tower or blue tower on the tier 2 in the top lane going down.
All right, but it's not enough here. He doesn't have the wave clear, and I think that these are going to be pretty much free inhibitor. They can rotate to the mid lane if they want to, or they can be pushing into the base. They could probably just look to end right here with this Baron Ocean Soul, but they are probably going to rotate to the mid lane, play the safer game.
Ooh, Equalizer coming out from Rumble. They're actually looking to fight this. Or clear the wave. Either way, I think it missed the wave a little bit, but it is going to be the inhibitor going down for Poseidon Gaming's base.
So there's a couple things to note with this being top inhibitor taken down. Often top inhib ends up being purely economy because it's so close to Baron that it doesn't end up reducing the ability of POG to contest that Baron on the next time it spawns. But because Elder is coming up in 2.5 minutes, it actually is relevant because it means that POG need to commit to the top side of the map when Elder is coming up. And it will allow Ace to have a pretty substantial advantage going into that Elder fight. So if Ace is able to pick up Elder here, I'd like to think they can just end the game straight up.
I've seen this one before. Burst Limit looking to take down this 1v2. There's going to be Swordblue returning the gank, and there's a TP coming from Vesper with the Senna. Just like that, it's going to be 5 people in the bot lane. We're going to have another 5v5. Let's see how this one goes.
But they do still have the Baron. They can just bring in the wave and take the tower, and they can't even test them. Senna's going to outrange the tower at this point. She should be on like 100, 120 souls at this point in the game, and they're going to have to back off, give this one. They might have to give the inhibitor as well, and if you split inhibs on top-bottom here, then you're pretty much just going to get pressured out of the game without even having to fight, because you're never going to get a chance to take a team fight where they don't just end the game before you can do anything.
Let's see if Poseidon Gaming opt to stop this in any way, shape, or form. Gunsy popping off the equalizer, but a good ult from Senna is going to neutralize some of that damage.
Though. I mean, they can't do anything.
They really can't do anything here. They put some stuff into it, but it's not going to be enough. Senna did
Oh!
a good flash from the Annie is going to get two of them down instantaneously. That's going to be the bot lane going down. Gunsee's rocking with his tail between his leg. That's going to be Renekton from the background. Renekton's going to come into this fight from the back. Good TP from him, but he's not going to even matter. A triple kill for the Annie isn't going to be enough to save this game, and that just might be the end of it. And it's going to be Critidic taking some damage from the Annie isn't going to be enough to take down. Flash from Gunsee to get out of burst limits Q, and they are going to look to end this game. And it's going to be Critidic looking to save this. I don't think he can. Good equalizer from the Rumble to sort of slow it down a little bit. Flamethrower isn't going to be enough to do enough damage. Vambient's going to be taken to half. Gunsee is being taken so low from Sosat Sam in the fountain. Good damage from Senna to take her out.
Just end the game, come on.
Kill. And that's going to be the end of this game. Team A-Click are going to take this game and walk home with it.
Yeah, there were some questions about Ace, I think, coming into the next few games here for them with their real roster. People weren't sure if they really get it together or not for playoffs, but they look solid. I think with everyone really in their positions and these drafts being a lot more together than they were in the earlier part of the season, they look like real contenders for this, even second, third, even maybe like, honestly, they look solid enough in this game against POG that I would like to see them play against SGR and against Tub and against Udyr, because I think they could contest for first if they actually keep this level of play up. Vambient needs to get Annie banned, though. I want to see how he looks off this champion. He's too good at it. He's too consistent on it. Please just ban it.
We do continue the narrative of Annie carrying 100% win rate in the FOF League. It's very exciting to see because that is a very niche champion that you don't see too much in competitive 5v5. As it is going to be Rumble. Did lose the game, but did carry the damage charts. He was pumping out equalizers like it was nobody's business. It was a bloodbath in this game.
I mean, the problem is you're pumping all that damage into Sion and like Tom Kench, which doesn't actually end up mattering for their team. And meanwhile, Annie's dropping all that on their backline. Aphelios is getting deleted. Victor's getting deleted. Lulu's getting deleted. So
Tom Kench carrying it for the tankiness, though. There's going to be Tom Kench and Sion really tanking up a storm in this one, though. If we look back at the damages, it was going to be Annie for the side of, what was it, Team A-Click coming out here, and that was not even close. No one even was close to their damages, Rumble and Annie. Those are some good picks if you want some poke damage, or burst damage, if you will, as we conclude the second game of the night. It was quite a spicy one, quite a bloodbath. I definitely enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Stay tuned for a word from our winners, and we will see you guys real soon. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, everyone. Chris Edgeworth here for the second interview of the day. I am joined by Sword Blue from the victorious Team A-Click. How you feeling after the big win?
Feeling pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It was really cool seeing you guys after a little bit of let's say a lull in the usual ace winning streak that I'm used to from you guys. It's nice to see you guys back dominating the league. Let me ask you a little bit about the thoughts on the draft you guys pulled together here. You guys did bring out the dreaded Senatom. Unfortunately, we send our respects to Fang over Fang, who had to witness that. You were obviously smurfing out there on the Italy, and then burst limit on the Scion duty. Unfortunate. How are you feeling about what you guys put together?
Yeah, honestly, our draft was very, very similar to the last game that we played. Senna and Tom Kenj in the bot lane, and at that point, for me, like I like to play damage jungler, so that's that. And again, burst limit is put to Scion top duty, just to stand in the front and just try to hold them back so we can attack them. But overall, the comp was very similar to last week.
And while he was on the Scion top duty, just getting just pummeled by Gunsy and Aquanthony, just spending their time up there, you were doing a lot of work on the opposite side of the map with Nidalee. What were your thoughts on the fact that they pulled out this Aphelios without the Thresh? Aphelios Lulu is pretty good, but I think that Aphelios Thresh is the S tier version of that matchup. What were your thoughts on just punishing this matchup?
Oh no, definitely. Well, I knew if I go top, I mean Renekton he's always gonna have prio every time in lane. So if I do invade topside, I'm gonna get punished by it. So again, we don't win 2v2, and again, we have a Tom Kenj. Tom Kenj can tank a lot of turret shots, and we could also dive. Nidalee's really, really good at doing turret dive as well. So our game plan was just to camp bot, get dragons. But again, the punishment we get is Josh is gonna be dying every time. But overall, it rewarded us at the end because we got all the dragons in that game.
It's it is one of those games where in solo queue, it's the honor top is just man, he didn't flame and well, I don't know, he maybe was flaming you guys raging, but it's you're just hey man, we're not playing on your side of the map, we'll see you in 20 minutes, and he played out his role, is what we'll say about that. But as better top wins, he survived the Dyrus treatment, and the W is on his side. So shouts out to Burst Limit on that one.
Yes, sir.
Now let's look forward to the playoffs coming up. Now that you guys have won this, how are you feeling about your prospects breaking into the playoffs?
Oh, honestly, I mean we're pretty excited. I mean we still have a lot of things to work on. But overall, I think the team's a lot better. We did move, some roster changes. Again, with the last rosters we had, we had some issues. But again, with the new rosters, I think we're playing as a team, and we're communicating a lot better going into playoffs. So again, we're all excited, and but again, we still need to improve and play as a team.
Well, I certainly wish Team A-Click the best of luck. Now it's really good to see you guys starting to return to some of the form that I'm used to equating with that brand, so to speak. So, Sword Blue, I do want to thank you for joining us for this interview. Do you have any final thoughts before we step away to Game 3?
Honestly, I'm excited to play the playoff teams, and best wishes to everyone for playoffs, and GG's. And thanks for having me as well.
Of course. Well, thanks, Sword Blue, and GG's to everyone. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a short break with Game 3.